What happens when a life lived entirely on reality television, a life that is constantly monitored, judged, and broadcast to millions, is suddenly derailed by a secret kept completely off camera? That is the absolute core question of today's deep dive. We are examining the public and the very hidden life of Anna Johnston from 7 Little Johnstons. We are synthesizing exclusive sources that reveal 2 vastly different chapters of crisis and consequence that the cameras never showed you. First, we have the insider reports of a secret pregnancy and the huge, shocking family reconciliation that followed. And then, jumping forward, the sources detail the current, really bitter and very public family feud that has left fans stunned. Our mission today is clear. We want to unpack the intense scrutiny, the incredibly difficult choices, and the shifting dynamics of the Johnston family using material that paints a picture you have never seen before. We want to reveal the complex interplay between a young person's search for independence, the responsibility that gets thrust upon her, and this current cycle of rejection. This isn't just about judging, it's about understanding the pressure that reality TV puts on family life, especially when that family is already under intense public scrutiny because of their physical differences. Before we peel back the layers of this shocking update and reveal the million-dollar secret that changed everything, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications because the story we are about to tell connects the dots in a way no one else has, and you do not want to miss the updates coming next. Let's unpack this by first establishing the backdrop, because the tension was palpable long before any secret came out. Anna, as she is portrayed on the show, was often labeled by viewers as rebellious, emotional, or difficult. But when you look closer, you can see why. She was constantly searching for independence, feeling like every single move was being monitored, and every small mistake was cataloged for the cameras. That feeling of intense surveillance was set against the family structure, which was rigorously led by Amber. Sources consistently describe Amber as a strong mother, disciplined and highly structured, someone who placed enormous value on stability and, critically, on family reputation. Given the very public nature of their lives as little people, a context that just heightens all forms of scrutiny, Amber's need for control was amplified tenfold. That was the pressure cooker Anna was in. It is interesting how that fundamental tension between a disciplined mother and a teenager seeking space actually translated into action. The notes suggest Anna didn't really feel a desire for outright rebellion. It was more profound. It was a need to escape. What is fascinating here is that Anna felt like she was living in someone else's shadow. Her core desire was simply to find space to exist without judgment. When you feel that level of constant televised judgment, seeking secrecy becomes a powerful, almost necessary coping mechanism. In that silence, outside the view of the TLC cameras, the reports suggest she found Joseph. His non-televised life was the key. He wasn't part of the manufactured drama. He wasn't interested in fame. And that was precisely what made him feel safe to her. Their connection grew quietly through texts, and these brief, stolen moments that felt entirely outside the show's narrative control. But that is where the cost of secrecy starts to accumulate. Every hidden message, every small lie, just created more emotional distance from her family. The sources highlight that critical turning point, the decision to meet Joseph in a hotel room. It was neutral, private, and temporary. She told her family she was staying with a friend. What is crucial is how the source describes the lie itself. It came out smoother than she expected. That success terrified her because it showed her how easily she could operate outside her mother's control. The psychological shift happens right there. The meeting itself wasn't some grand, reckless act. It was simple. But it was the first place where Anna felt seen as herself, not as a character on a show. Her key realization afterward wasn't regret for the action, but a profound self-discovery. She wasn't scared of what she had done. She was scared of how much she wanted it again. That feeling of self-possession, that desire for autonomy, however reckless, eventually slammed right into a physical reality. We transition now to the knowledge of the secret becoming undeniable. The notes detail these fragmented whispers and small physical changes Amber started noticing. Things like a missed family breakfast, general nausea, unusual tiredness. Anna was desperately trying to brush these off as stress or anxiety. She was fighting a silent war inside her own body while trying to maintain the facade of a structured life. And then, the moment of undeniable proof. The sources describe Anna confirming the pregnancy alone in the bathroom. The result was undeniable, positive. That is a life-altering moment where the weight of responsibility instantly collapses the walls of secrecy. This wasn't just her private issue anymore. This was a life. That moment forced her to confront Joseph. When Anna finally told him, the reaction as she recounted was profound in its quietness. She said silence filled the line. Not shock, not anger, just gravity. That silence spoke volumes about his maturity in that moment. The most crucial part of his response, which really framed the shift from secrecy to accountability, was his question. He asked, "What do you want to do? Think about that." He didn't run. He didn't tell her what to do. He placed the decision, and therefore the beginning of accountability, right back in her hands. That is a major departure from the kind of reactive, emotional response you might expect from a young partner caught in a situation like this. It was the necessary foundation before the ultimate moment of truth. The confession to Amber and Trent. The sources describe the parental reaction as a complex blend. There was anger, yes. Disappointment, undeniably. But there was also shock and heartbreak. It wasn't just punishment. It was genuinely wounded parents realizing their daughter had been suffering completely alone. Crucially, Amber's response, though controlled, focused on consequence management, not immediate rejection. She stated that this could have been handled differently, but what is done is done. That single statement is the exact point where the door cracked open for moving forward. It emphasizes that practicality Amber is known for. That forward motion started immediately with Joseph meeting the parents. The sources emphasize his approach. He came without arrogance, without excuses. He was focused entirely on accountability. He stated plainly that he cared about Anna, and he cared about this child. That statement immediately changed the dynamic in the room. What impressed the parents was that Joseph owned it. He admitted his mistakes without minimizing the situation, and he spoke about support, stability, and about showing up. He didn't try to save his own image. He was trying to build a stable future. The consistency of his commitment, we are told, is what slowly began to form a foundation of trust. This dedication culminated in a quiet, very real proposal. Joseph's statement was so specific and intentional. He said he wanted to marry her, not because of pressure, not because of the baby, but because he chose her. That framed the commitment as a conscious choice, not an obligation forced by circumstances. This period also forced a significant internal reckoning for Amber. The sources detail her struggle. She questioned if she had been too strict in the past. She realized that Anna was now scared and trying, not defiant. This new, difficult maturity born from facing consequences shifted Amber's entire approach. It sounds like she realized that punishing Anna would just push her further away. Amber made a deliberate decision to pivot, choosing support over punishment. She told Anna that she was not doing this alone. That was the moment of full reconciliation. They even discussed a specific commitment date for the wedding, February 10th, 2026. This wasn't some rushed solution. It was a thoughtfully planned commitment to their future. So we see this incredible narrative shift from scandal to reconciliation. And Trent, the father, played a quiet but essential role, the silent bridge. He didn't lecture, he just stayed steady, reminding Anna through actions more than words that mistakes don't erase love. The family unit was changed, but they were adapting to the new reality. And this leads to the ultimate act of support and confidence, which is truly staggering in its scope. The sources highlight the pivotal, practical step Amber took to secure Anna's future beyond just emotional support. She gifted Anna a house worth nearly $1 million. $1 million. That is an enormous financial and symbolic investment. Was this just familial love? Or was this also a strategic move by the parents to control the narrative for the show? To provide security that would prevent future public crises? It is impossible to separate the two entirely when you live your life on television. It provided undeniable security for Anna, yes, but it also sent a powerful public message that the family was supportive and that the marriage was stable. Symbolically, the house represented security, trust rebuilt, and a tangible belief that the family could evolve. The wedding itself then reflected this theme. It was described as simple, intentional, honest, built on accountability and forgiveness rather than the kind of lavish fantasy you might expect from a reality TV spectacle. It was a solid foundation built from a very rocky start. But this is where we have to pause and reflect on the passage of time, because the sources then jump forward dramatically. The foundation built on Joseph's accountability and that million-dollar safety net, it eventually dissolved. Our sources pick up the modern story after Anna's relationship with her long-term partner, Darius Anderson, ended, signaling a significant period of life and relationships that occurred after that initial reconciliation. That separation from Darius, which happened off-screen, seems to have reignited older wounds. The sources jump us abruptly into the current toxic atmosphere marked by family strife and an ongoing back and forth of accusations. Anna eventually stated that she had to leave the immediate familial setting altogether to protect her mental health, which raises an important question. How does a family that successfully navigated a secret pregnancy and built a million-dollar foundation for their daughter end up here? The sources suggest the current dynamic is one of active rejection, not just distance, and the recent incidents show a harsh, calculated rift. Let's look at the exclusions detailed in the sources, starting with Thanksgiving. Trent and Amber did not extend an invitation, effectively blaming Anna for the distance. The material notes she stayed home, made her Nana's special salad, and watched the parade alone with her pets. That is a heartbreakingly solitary holiday. Then you have the optics of the Christmas photo shoot. Trent and Amber organized this highly specific biblical nativity scene photo shoot, including Liz, Bryce, baby Leighton, Jonah, Alex, and Emma. Anna was conspicuously absent from this visually heavy display of unity. This led fans to criticize the parents for still referring to it as a family picture when a core member was deliberately excluded. And perhaps the most painful incident was around Leighton's birthday. The sources confirm that Liz was adamant that Anna not be invited. Trent and Amber actively supported this decision, with Amber stating Leighton doesn't even know her. And the sources highlight fan criticism that the family was using Leighton as a pawn in their power play, weaponizing a child's birthday to enforce distance. So when a family is actively and publicly rejecting you in this manner, it creates a void, a huge one. And amidst this highly publicized conflict and exclusion, Anna has sought connection elsewhere. Moving on from the painful separation, which brings us to her new relationship with Jeffrey Meserve. Anna chose to publicly debut the relationship on social media with what people call a hard launch. She posted a cozy picture with the sticker, "I'm probably with," labeling him her forever crush. She even shared this anecdote about how they met, saying one day you like the guy who tried to keep your hair from catching on fire. It's a very public declaration, and it instantly drew attention, especially since the family feud was raging. However, fans who researched him quickly discovered a deeply complex and, frankly, concerning history, raising significant questions about Anna's judgment in this moment. The sources detail specific concerns that quickly circulated. First, there is a reported significant age difference between them. Second, fans learned he is reportedly still married to his ex-wife, and their divorce case is actively ongoing in court. And third, the most troubling detail. Fans located his mugshot. He was arrested in October in Houston County, Georgia, for theft by conversion. This is a dramatic contrast to her previous partner, Joseph, who demonstrated immediate accountability and stability. This juxtaposition presents the core dilemma of Anna's current life. On one hand, she is reportedly thriving in her independence outside of what she described as the family's poisonous environment. On the other hand, the man she just publicly debuted has a recent arrest record and unresolved marital issues, leading fans to worry about her safety due to his horrific past. So, what does this all mean for you? The sources present a stunning contrast between Anna's two major life arcs. The first was a secret act that, when exposed, led to accountability, forgiveness, and immense security, a marriage, and a $1 million safety net. The second arc is the current one, a public family feud leading to active rejection, and in response, a new, highly controversial relationship. We see her moving away from family structure, but perhaps running toward a different, more personal instability. What we learned in this deep dive is that navigating life under intense scrutiny turns private consequences into very public lessons. The initial chapter showed Anna achieving stability through responsibility. The current chapter shows the immense difficulty of rebuilding life and identity when those foundational familial bonds are actively severed. We saw Anna mature rapidly after facing the consequences of her secret pregnancy, leading to a period of acceptance and growth. But when you are actively rejected by your family, when you are told you are a pawn and excluded from holidays, do you seek growth? Or do you simply seek relief and immediate connection? And does the nature of that seeking, growth versus relief, influence who you choose to trust next? This is something worth exploring further. This brings us to the most dangerous part of the story, where the past and present collide in a way that threatens to destroy everything Anna has built. We need to talk about the deeper implications of that mugshot and the timing of her forever crush reveal. Why now? Why him? Insider theories suggest that this isn't just about love, it's about sending a message to Amber and Trent. Remember the control Amber exerted? The strict discipline? What better way to shatter that control than to align yourself with someone who represents the antithesis of the Johnston family brand? But is this a strategic rebellion, or is Anna walking into a trap set by her own vulnerability? We have to consider the source of these new reports. The theft by conversion charge isn't just a minor infraction, it implies a breach of trust, a manipulation of resources. Does that sound familiar? Some observers are drawing a terrifying parallel between the control Amber had over Anna's resources, represented by that $1 million house, and the potential financial instability this new partner brings. Is she trading one form of control for another? And let's not forget the Joseph chapter. What happened to him? If the reports of the wedding planned for 2026 were accurate, if the foundation was so strong, why did it crumble? Was the pressure of the show too much for a private citizen like Joseph? Or did the family's acceptance come with strings attached that he eventually refused to pull? There are whispers that the $1 million house wasn't just a gift, it was a golden cage. A way to keep Anna and her new family within the Johnston orbit, within driving distance, within filming range. Perhaps the accountability Joseph showed was eventually suffocated by the same rigorous leadership that Anna tried to escape in that hotel room years ago. If Joseph left because he couldn't handle the Johnston family dynamics, it recontextualizes Anna's current situation. She isn't just the black sheep who got kicked out. She is the survivor of a system that consumes everyone who enters it. We have to look at the wreckage of that 2026 wedding plan to understand the hell Anna is living through right now. Why would a relationship built on such verified accountability, the kind Joseph demonstrated in that hotel room and in front of her parents, suddenly vanish into thin air? The insider theory that is gaining the most traction is terrifying in its simplicity. Joseph didn't leave because he stopped loving Anna. He left because he refused to be owned by Amber. Think about the timing, the reconciliation, the acceptance, and then the house. We need to talk about the house. When a parent gifts $1 million property to a child who has struggled with independence, it looks like generosity. But in the world of reality television contracts and asset management, it looks like leverage. Sources suggest that the deed to that house might not have been as clear-cut as the show wanted us to believe. Was Anna the owner? Or was she merely the caretaker of a storyline? If Joseph realized that marrying Anna meant signing his life away to a production schedule and a mother-in-law who held the keys to their front door, his departure wasn't a rejection of Anna. It was an escape from the Johnston family business. And when he ran, he took the stability Anna had finally found with him. This left Anna free-falling. And this is where the timeline gets messy and the official narrative starts to crumble. After Joseph, there was Darius Anderson. We saw glimpses of this. It seemed hopeful. But when that ended, something fundamental snapped in the family dynamic. The sources describe a shift in Amber's attitude from supportive mother back to strict disciplinarian, but with a new, colder edge. It wasn't just about rules anymore. It was about assets and brand management. Anna was no longer the redemption arc. She was becoming a liability. And this brings us to the Delta rumors. You have seen the whispers in the forums, the reports that Anna was expelled or faced severe disciplinary action from school or a program. The family has never addressed this directly, but the sudden eviction, because that is what sources are calling it, an eviction, not a move, aligns perfectly with a punitive measure. If Anna messed up behind the scenes, threatening the wholesome image of the family, Amber's reaction wouldn't just be to scold her, it would be to cut her off. This context is vital because it explains why Anna is currently vulnerable to someone like Jeffrey Myserve. When you are evicted by your parents, shunned by your siblings, and erased from the family photos, you don't look for a partner who challenges you. You look for a partner who validates your trauma. Jeffrey represents the ultimate rebellion. But the deeper we dig into Jeffrey's background, the more it looks like Anna has jumped from the frying pan into the fire. Let's go back to that mugshot. Theft by conversion. This isn't shoplifting. This isn't a misunderstanding. Theft by conversion happens when you are legally entrusted with someone else's property or money, and you knowingly convert it for your own use. It is a crime of betrayal. It is a crime that requires a violation of trust. And this is the man Anna is calling her forever crush? The psychology here is devastating. Anna has spent her entire life in a transactional environment. Perform well for the cameras, get love. Mess up, get rejected. Follow the rules, get a house. Break the rules, get evicted. She has been conditioned to believe that love is always conditional and that relationships are always about leverage. So when she meets a man accused of financial betrayal, she might not see a red flag. She might just see something familiar. And the age gap? The fact that he is still technically married? These aren't deterrents for someone desperate to be chosen. They are complications she thinks she can fix, just like she tried to fix her relationship with Amber for years. But the danger is that Jeffrey isn't Amber. Amber controlled Anna to protect the family brand. A man with a history of theft by conversion might be looking to control Anna to access her reality TV residuals. We have to ask, is Anna Johnston about to be drained financially by the very person she ran to for emotional safety? And where are her siblings in this? This is perhaps the most tragic element of the current feud. In a normal family, if a sister started dating a man with a recent mugshot and an active divorce case, the siblings would intervene. They would stage an intervention. They would show up at her door. But in the Johnston family, the siblings have formed a wall of silence. Specifically, Liz. The dynamic between Liz and Anna has always been fraught, but sources indicate it has turned into open hostility. Liz is effectively the enforcer of the new generation. By excluding Anna from Leighton's birthday, Liz was sending a clear message. You are out. And notice who supported Liz? Amber. It's a multi-generational alliance against the scapegoat. The insider reports suggest that Liz sees Anna's current behavior, the hard launch of the new boyfriend, the cryptic social media posts, not as a cry for help, but as attention-seeking behavior that threatens the family's paycheck. If Anna implodes publicly, does it hurt the show? Or does it provide the drama they need for another season? There is a cynical theory circulating among longtime viewers that the family is actually banking on Anna's failure. Think about it. The show needs conflict. A happy, stable Anna living in a $1 million home with a nice husband is a boring season finale. But a rebellious Anna dating a bad boy, getting into feuds, and spiraling on social media? That is ratings gold. Is it possible that the exclusion, the public rejection, is a calculated move to push Anna further toward the edge, creating the exact kind of train wreck TV that keeps the series renewed? It sounds monstrous. But we are talking about an industry that monetizes dysfunction. If the family truly feared for her safety with Jeffrey, they wouldn't be posting biblical nativity photos without her. They would be at her house. The silence is loud, and the distance is deliberate. Let's go deeper into the hard launch of Jeffrey. Why did Anna choose to do it that way? The sticker I'm probably with. And the story about the hair catching on fire. It feels chaotic. It feels manic. It doesn't feel like the calm, assured announcement of the 2026 wedding we almost had. It feels like a weapon. Anna is using her public platform to fire shots back at the family. By parading a relationship she knows they will hate, she is asserting the only control she has left. You can't edit this out, she seems to be saying. You can't cut this scene. She is forcing them to acknowledge her existence by becoming undeniable. But this strategy has a fatal flaw. By aligning herself with someone with a criminal record, she is handing Amber the ultimate "I told you so." She is validating every negative label the family has ever placed on her. They called her rebellious. She's dating a convict. They called her difficult. She's feuding publicly. She is playing right into the role they wrote for her, even as she tries to escape it. And we need to talk about the financial reality of Anna's independence. We know she has her online jewelry business. She has her influencer income. But without the family safety net, without the million-dollar house, if she indeed lost access to it, she is operating in a very different economic bracket. Legal fees are expensive. If she gets entangled in Jeffrey's divorce drama or his criminal defense, her resources could drain fast. And remember the charge: theft by conversion. If she lets this man into her bank accounts, if she lets him handle her business finances, she is risking total ruin. The sources we've analyzed suggest that fans are already noticing changes in her online store: inventory shifts, different posting schedules. Is this the influence of a new partner taking the reins? If Jeffrey takes over her business, he takes over her lifeline. And if that lifeline snaps, where does Anna go? She can't go back to Amber. That door is bolted shut. This brings us to the most disturbing whisper from the production side. There are rumors that TLC crews have been spotted filming separately. One crew with the main family, and a smaller skeleton crew tracking Anna. If this is true, it confirms that the network is preparing to document the split as a major storyline. They aren't trying to fix it. They are preparing to broadcast the collision. They are capturing the two Johnston's era. On one side, the curated, biblical, perfect family unit with Liz and the grandbabies. On the other side, the gritty, chaotic, real world of Anna and her troubled boyfriend. It is the classic dichotomy of sacred versus profane. And the audience is being groomed to pick a side. But here is the twist. The audience isn't picking the side the family expects. Look at the comments. Look at the ratios. The more Amber and Liz reject Anna, the more the public rallies behind her. The villain edit is failing. The viewers see a young woman who was used for content and then discarded when she became too real. But public support doesn't pay the bills, and likes on Instagram don't protect you from a partner with a rap sheet. The fans are watching a car crash in slow motion, screaming for Anna to hit the brakes, while the family seems to be watching from the sidelines waiting to say, "We knew it would happen." The tragedy of Anna Johnston is that she has spent her life trying to prove she is capable, independent, and good. And in her desperate sprint to prove she doesn't need them, she might be running directly into a trap that will cost her everything. The narrative has shifted from rebellious teen to endangered adult. And the terrifying part? The cameras are still rolling. We are watching a real-time disintegration of a support system, replaced by a relationship that has red flag written all over it in neon lights. We also have to consider the Joseph factor one last time. Sources say he hasn't completely disappeared from the area. There are sightings of him still being in the periphery. Why? If he escaped, why stay close? Is it possible that he is waiting? Watching? Knowing that this rebound with Jeffrey is a ticking time bomb? Some romantics want to believe he is the safety net waiting to catch her. But the darker reality is that in this town, everyone knows everyone. He is likely watching the same Instagram stories we are, seeing the woman he almost married spiral into a relationship with a man accused of theft. That has to be a specific kind of torture. And it reinforces the idea that Anna had a chance at a normal life, a boring, safe, non-televised life. And she lost it. Did she lose it because she was addicted to the chaos? Or did she lose it because the environment she was raised in made normal feel impossible? The divide is now physical, digital, and emotional. The family has blocked her. She has blocked them. The holidays are coming up again, and the sources say there are zero plans for reconciliation. In fact, the insider reports suggest that Amber is actively consulting with PR teams on how to handle the Anna question in upcoming interviews. They are scrubbing her from the legacy. But you cannot scrub a scar. And Anna is the scar on the Johnston family portrait. She is the proof that the strict parenting, the high expectations, and the reality TV fame came with a casualty count. As we look toward the future, the question isn't just, will Anna break up with Jeffrey? The question is, will Anna survive the fall when she finally realizes she is truly alone? The stakes have never been higher. We aren't talking about groundings or phone privileges anymore. We are talking about criminal records, financial ruin, and total psychological isolation. And the most chilling part is that we, the audience, are fueling the machine that keeps this dysfunction running. Every click, every view, every debate about Liz versus Anna adds value to the brand that is tearing them apart. But there is one final, explosive secret that our sources are hinting at. A piece of information that could flip the entire board game over. It involves the real reason for the theft by conversion charge and a connection to another reality TV family that no one saw coming. We promised you the truth about Jeffrey's theft by conversion charge and the connection to the reality TV underworld that turns this story from a family drama into a full-blown industry conspiracy. Our exclusive sources have been digging into the court documents and the whispers circulating in the Georgia legal community, and what they found changes everything. The conversion in question wasn't just about stealing a car or mismanaging a small business loan. The reports suggest that the funds involved were tied to a failed promotional venture involving a former cast member of another TLC franchise, specifically, a figure from the 90-Day Fiancé universe. This is the smoking gun. It implies that Jeffrey isn't just a random guy Anna met at a bar or through mutual friends. It suggests he is what industry insiders call a production chaser, or a fame leech. These are individuals who specifically target vulnerable, marginalized members of reality TV families, the black sheep, the outcasts, to insert themselves into the narrative and access the cash flow that comes with appearances and tabloid deals. If this theory holds water, Anna Johnston isn't in a relationship. She is in a transaction, and she is on the losing end. Think about the pattern. He targets a woman who has just been publicly isolated from her wealthy, famous family. A woman who is desperate for validation and unconditional love. He sweeps in, likely playing the role of the protector, the only one who really understands her, shielding her from the big bad Amber and Trent. But in reality, he might be positioning himself to leverage her name for the very thing she is trying to escape. Notoriety, the theft by conversion charge, essentially means taking something you were entrusted with and using it for yourself. Is he doing the exact same thing with Anna's heart and her reputation? Converting her vulnerability into his opportunity? It is a terrifying thought, and it explains why the family's reaction has been so severe. If Amber and Trent know, or even suspect, that Jeffrey is a chaser with a history of grifting reality stars, their exclusion of Anna stops looking like punishment and starts looking like a frantic attempt at quarantine. They aren't just cutting her off, they are cutting off the parasite attached to her to protect the host body of the show. But this brings us back to the most heartbreaking element of our deep dive, the child. The secret pregnancy we discussed in the first chapter. How does that fit into this modern nightmare? You might be asking, if she had a baby, where is it? The most compelling, albeit theory that ties the entire timeline together, is the custody of privacy theory. Insiders speculate that the breakdown of the 2026 wedding plans and Joseph's departure wasn't just about Amber's control, it was about the baby's visibility. The theory goes like this. Amber, the ultimate producer mom, saw the grandchild as the ultimate storyline. A new generation of little people, or average-sized people, to carry the show for another 10 seasons. Joseph and Anna, having seen the toll the cameras took on their own lives, drew a hard line in the sand. No cameras for the child. This refusal to monetize the baby allegedly caused the fracture. When Anna refused to sign the release forms for her child, the $1 million house deal started to wobble. The gift was contingent on the content. When the content was denied, the support was withdrawn. This explains why the child is missing from the narrative. Anna is hiding them to save them. It explains why Joseph left the public eye entirely, to guard that privacy. And it explains the bitterness of the current feud. Look at Liz. Liz had her baby, Leighton, and immediately, Leighton is the star of the show, the center of the photo shoots, the prop for the nativity scenes. Liz played the game. Liz gave the production what they wanted, access. And in return, Liz gets the support, the praise, the inclusion. Anna refused to offer up her child as content, and for that rebellion, she was cast out. If this is true, Anna Johnston is a hero. She is sacrificing her relationship with her parents, her financial security, and her public image to ensure that her secret child grows up without a camera in their face. It recontextualizes her spiral. She isn't spiraling, she is grieving the family she had to lose to save the family she created. And now, isolated and cut off from the resources that could help her raise that child in secret, she turns to Jeffrey. Maybe she doesn't see a grifter. Maybe she sees a man who, unlike her parents, doesn't want to put her baby on TV, even if his motives are financial in other ways. She is choosing the devil she doesn't know over the devil that tried to exploit her offspring. This creates a psychological pressure cooker that is impossible to sustain. We are watching a young woman sandwiched between two predatory forces. On one side, the family brand, which demands total submission and the commodification of every private moment. On the other side, the outside world, filled with opportunists like Jeffrey, who see her last name as a quick payday. Where is the safe harbor? There isn't one. And this is the tragedy of reality TV's existence. You are raised to believe that the world is watching you, so you never learn how to discern who is watching you with love and who is watching you with hunger. Anna's hard launch of Jeffrey, her rebellious posts, her "I'm probably with" stickers. These are the flailing motions of someone drowning in a sea of exploitation, trying to grab onto anything that feels like a raft. Let's go deeper into the financial mechanics of this feud, because money is the language the Johnstons speak fluently. We mentioned the $1 million house. Insider reports suggest that Anna never actually held the title. It was likely held in a trust controlled by Trent and Amber, or by an LLC attached to the show's production. This is a common tactic in the industry to keep talent compliant. Here is your house, but if you leave the show, you leave the house. When Anna started dating Jeffrey, a man with a record of financial impropriety, the parents likely invoked a morality clause, or a risk clause, in the trust to evict her. They couldn't risk a man charged with theft having legal access to a property tied to their assets. So, the eviction wasn't just a punishment, it was asset protection. They liquidated her stability to protect their portfolio. This left Anna scrambling. And notice what happened to her online business during this time. The Fizz 4 Passion jewelry line, which was once her pride and joy, her claim to independence, has seen a shift. Fans have noticed inconsistent shipping, changes in the aesthetic, and a more chaotic marketing strategy. Is this the stress of homelessness, or is this Jeffrey's influence? If he is involved in her business, we are witnessing the slow cannibalization of her only independent income stream. The theft by conversion history suggests he knows how to move money around. If Anna isn't careful, she will wake up one day to find her business accounts empty and her forever crush gone, leaving her with tax liabilities she can't pay. And the cruelest irony? If that happens, she will have to crawl back to Amber and Trent, proving them right once and for all. We told you couldn't make it without us. We told you the world was dangerous. The cycle of dependency will snap back into place, tighter than before. But there is a wild card factor here. The audience. You. For years, the producers and the family could control the narrative because the audience only saw what made the final cut. But social media has broken the fourth wall. The fans are now the investigators. You found the mugshot, you tracked the timeline, you noticed the exclusion at Christmas, and overwhelmingly, the sentiment is turning against the parents. This is a nightmare for TLC. They are trying to sell a show about a wholesome, close-knit family facing the world together. But the internet is watching a show about narcissistic parents destroying their daughter. The cognitive dissonance is becoming too loud to ignore. Ratings might spike temporarily due to the drama, but long-term, the brand is toxic. If the audience decides that watching 7 Little Johnstons is ethically gross, that it is essentially funding the abuse of a young woman, the viewership will collapse. This puts Amber and Trent in a corner. They have two choices. Choice A, double down on the Anna is crazy narrative. Use the next season to assassinate her character, highlight her bad choices with Jeffrey, and paint themselves as the long-suffering saints who tried to save her. This is the path they seem to be taking. Choice B, the redemption arc. They admit they were too hard on her, they invite her back, without Jeffrey, and they film the reconciliation. But Anna might not accept choice B anymore. And that is the terror that keeps reality stars awake at night. The moment the scapegoat realizes they don't need the flock. If Anna succeeds, if she dumps Jeffrey, keeps her secret child safe, builds her business back up, and finds happiness without the show, she destroys the family myth. She proves that the Johnston way isn't the only way. And that is a dangerous precedent for the other children. If Anna can leave and survive, why should Jonah stay? Why should Alex and Emma endure the pressure? Anna's independence is a contagion that could infect the entire cast, leading to the end of the series. So, what is the endgame here? Where does this tragedy settle? The most likely scenario, based on the trajectory of similar reality TV families, is a permanent fracture. Anna becomes the lost daughter, the topic of sad monologues and confessionals, but never seen on screen again. She becomes a ghost story the parents tell to keep the other kids in line. Don't end up like Anna. Meanwhile, Anna fights for her life in the real world, carrying the scars of a million eyes. She will likely have to navigate the legal system with Jeffrey, perhaps learning the hard way why you don't date someone with an active theft case. There will be rock bottoms, there will be public meltdowns, but there is a shimmer of hope in the chaos. The hope lies in the fact that Anna is finally feeling. For years she was numb, suppressing her emotions to fit the mold of the difficult but managed child. Now she is angry, she is messy, she is making bad choices, but they are her choices. There is a strange, jagged kind of dignity in making your own mistakes after a lifetime of following someone else's script. The pain she is feeling now is the growing pain of a delayed adolescence. She is doing the rebellious teenager phase at 20-something because she wasn't allowed to do it at 16. And while Jeffrey is a dangerous catalyst, he might be a necessary one. Sometimes you have to burn the house down to realize you never liked the furniture anyway. As we wrap up this deep dive, we have to look at the mirror. Why do we care? Why did you listen to this entire story? It's because the story of Anna Johnston is the story of the modern human condition. We are all performing for an audience, whether it's on Instagram, at work, or within our own families. We all struggle with the tension between who we are and who people want us to be. Anna is just doing it on a stage magnified by millions of dollars and millions of viewers. Her fight for autonomy, however flawed, resonates because it is primal. She is screaming, "I exist," in a room full of people who only want to see a reflection of themselves. We must also address the secret baby one last time. If that child is out there, growing up in the quiet shadows of Georgia, away from the lights and the boom mics, they are the true winner of this story. They are the legacy of Anna's resistance. Every day that child spends unrecognized by a fan is a victory for Anna. It is proof that she broke the cycle. She didn't feed her child to the machine. She threw herself into the gears instead to jam them. That is not the act of a problem child. That is the act of a mother. We will continue to monitor the court dockets in Houston County for updates on Jeffrey's case. We will be watching the new season for the subtle edits that try to erase Anna's presence. And we will keep digging into the financial webs that bind this family together. But for now, the story stands on a precipice. Anna is walking a tightrope without a net. The family has turned their backs. The boyfriend is a liability. The fans are her only chorus, but we cannot save her. We can only witness. This has been the unauthorized, unfiltered, and deeply complex truth about the 7 Little Johnstons and the war for Anna's soul. A war fought with NDA contracts, nativity photos, mugshots, and silence. A war where the casualties are truth and trust. If you want to stay ahead of the mainstream narrative, if you want the updates that TLC tries to bury, you know what to do. Smash that like button. It actually helps the algorithm show this truth to more people. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you are the first to know when the next court document drops or the next insider leaks the real story behind the upcoming season finale. We are building a community of truth seekers here, and we need you in the comments. Tell us, do you think Jeffrey is a danger or a refuge? Do you believe the secret baby theory explains the rift? And whose side are you on? Team Amber's tough love or Team Anna's freedom? Drop your theories below. I read every single one. Until next time, keep your eyes open, because in the world of reality TV, nothing is real except the pain.